Welcome back to 3 Minutes with a Civizen. My name is JD Witt, Talent Acquisition Manager here with Civis Analytics. And here with me today, I have Caitlyn. Over to you.
Hi, Caitlyn Hoffman here. I'm the controller here at Civis, which means I manage all things all things accounting and tax. And I have been at Civis for 9 years, and I'm currently living in Chicago.
Very cool. Well, thank you for joining me today. 9 years with Civis is impressive, especially since the company itself is only 11 years old. What has your career path looked like since joining in 2015?
Yeah, so I started as the accounting and finance analyst back in 2015 when we were still a pretty new company. At the time, I was the first accountant at Civis, and it felt like a lot of us were just kind of trying to figure stuff out as we went along. Um, and as we grew both larger and more complex as a business, we also needed to grow our accounting function to meet the needs of the business. And so in 2017, I believe it was, I was promoted to accounting manager, and continued to hire direct reports to expand the roles and responsibilities of the team, from everything to kind of the standard accounting functions of bookkeeping, accounts receivable, accounts payable, to things like tax and payroll and even office management at one point. So just really everything that you could think of accounting related kind of fell under my team. And then was promoted to controller, which is essentially director of accounting. And that's kind of where we are now.
Awesome. And I know you come from larger companies in your past life with like over 100,000 employees. What were some of the biggest differences you noticed between larger companies like that and coming to Civis?
Yeah, I mean, it really couldn't be any more different coming from a big company to a place like Civis. At the big company, at least in the accounting functions, I can't speak to everything, but in the accounting functions, you were a very small fish in a very big pond. The work that you were doing was important to the success of the company, but you couldn't often see the impact of that work.
Mhm.
You'd present your work to your manager and it would get signed off on and maybe the change would get implemented or something would happen, but you couldn't often trace the impact of that work down the line, and certainly not to the bottom line of the company.
Right.
And here at Civis, it's the exact opposite. You see the impact of your work every day. I own the entire set of financial statements as my day-to-day job, right? So I can see every single detail of what's happening, and it's important for me to know all of that to be able to do my job. But if I make a change to my process, I can immediately see that impact, both in our day-to-day operations, but also to the bottom line of the company. And it's very intimidating at first. It was a bit overwhelming when I joined, but more now it just feels rewarding to be able to actually see the impact of my work on the
Yeah.
business and on the people at Civis.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see how that would be more rewarding to be able to see that impact there. So I get that. Um, awesome. So, what has it been like from your perspective, seeing Civis grow throughout the years? Has there been any like milestones that stick out in your mind?
Yeah, so like I said, when I first started, it felt like we were still establishing processes and controls and trying to figure out what we were doing. But throughout the years, we've definitely matured as an organization. I know we have definitely in the accounting functionality. Um, we have systems and controls and automations and things now. So like all of the day-to-day responsibilities are kind of taken care of. We know what's happening. And when fires pop up or when things pop up, like we're able to address those now.
Mhm.
As opposed to constantly reacting, we can be a lot more proactive. And I think that's true kind of everywhere in the company. But
Yeah,
in terms of
definitely.
milestones, the stuff that is most memorable to me is probably the things that kept me up at night at the time. But in my opinion, worked out really well. We in 2016 we built out our Chicago office, and at the time I'd only been at the company a year, but we had already been in I'd already worked out of two offices because we were growing so quickly. So we found a larger office space and kind of built it out from the empty floor and ceiling and whatever else. Um, and it was great to kind of have that headquarter space, pre-COVID, obviously, but and then the other two things would be our fundraising rounds, our Series A and Series B.
Mhm.
Um, obviously very rewarding at the end of that because you've got the investor fundraising, but a lot of work went into those on the accounting and finance side, and very, very rewarding there as well.
For sure. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, Caitlyn. It is super interesting to get, a perspective from someone like yourself who has seen the company change so much the last decade, basically. And to everyone tuning in, be sure to join us next month for another 3 minutes with the Civizen.